So I know there's some interest there on both parties. We'll see how that works out. And then we got Destiny Snyder. Destiny Snyder is a kid that we recruited from the soccer team who never played high school.
Really?
And she's played some really good minutes for us here the last 3 or 4 games. She played some good minutes out of Miami Trace, and then against Madison Plains, we had a shootout with Madison Plains, who is probably the best team in their history of their school, Madison Plains.
I agree with that.
It's a good-looking club, and they're young. And Destiny played well there, and she played well at Chillicothe. So she's getting, she's giving us about 10 minutes a game in the last 4 or 5 games we play. I wish Destiny was a junior and coming back. I watched her in practice tonight. She had a couple jump shots, and I'm like, dadgummit, this kid needs to come back to school. But she's ready to graduate.
And those are minutes that you wasn't expecting to have in your arsenal probably a month and a half ago.
No, not at all. And I told the younger kids, we got to play on Friday night over at Madison Plains, which was great. Big crowd, and our JV season's done. But if we didn't have Scotty come out, if we didn't have Destiny Snyder come out, we would have been one of those schools that's only playing 2 quarters a month. And we got through that hump. And next year, I look for us to grow to have around 20 kids playing JV basketball and high school basketball. So we're going to bounce back, numbers-wise, in Washington Courthouse.
Which helps, yeah.
Your junior high girls did a really nice job this season.
Yes, our 8th grade team, coached by Tracy Tyree, just got better and better as the year went on. And Tracy had them playing really well the last 5 or 6 games. I don't know where they finished the regular season at.
I think they end up winning the tournament at the end.
They did end up winning the tournament. And, there's 9 kids playing there. We got 1 kid that's injured. She'll be back for us. And then we have 9 7th graders who won the regular season and got beat in the second round of the tournament. So, we lose 4. We believe we got 9 coming. So.
And plus, the backbone of your team is 3 juniors.
Yeah, we have 3 juniors returning next year for us. Peyton Hughes, Ellie Bob Racine, and Callie Ellis. And those 3 have played a lot of minutes. They have a plan for what they're doing in the spring. A couple of them playing AAU basketball. One of them is going to the weight room to get her strength back. Callie's had surgery as soon as basketball season was over last year. And she plans on working on her skills and maybe trying to pick up some AAU basketball in July.
A minute ago, you mentioned you were just a couple players from only playing 2 quarters for freshmen, for reserve teams. There were several teams this year that only played 2 quarters. East Clinton didn't even have a varsity. What is your feeling on why this year?
You're trying to get me in trouble. I think there's a lot of reasons why. These kids are kids from COVID, and
right.
I think there's a lot of COVID bounce back. I mean, they were home for 7 or 8 months, and they wasn't allowed to get together. Washington Courthouse, the second semester, we implemented a cell phone policy that the kids got to put their cell phone away. Okay, and the first day we came back from break, in the class that I do, I just said, I want you to find a neighbor and go talk with them. And right away they gravitated towards their friends, and then after 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, pick somebody else.
Pick somebody you don't know, talk to them.
And then pick somebody else.
Right.
And they just sit there and have a conversation. And now it's kind of, it's not paying off for them because now they want to have a conversation more and more. But it's like school was, 7 or 8 years ago.
Right.
Because all they had was their phones for the most part, or a younger brother, older brother, and sister, and stuff like that. So I think there was a lot of COVID things. I think kids got interested in other things.
Well, they found out when they're not playing basketball because of COVID, all of a sudden they found out, oh, in the wintertime, I can do this and this and this.
Exactly.
And then the basketball comes back and it's like, if I do that, I'm going to miss doing this. And I think you lost some people
And
playing.
you know,
Basketball is the same hardest sport.
it is, and I think that has a lot to do with it, being a long season.
Right.
You know, we started somewhere around the 24th of October.
Right.
And here we are.
You have open gym probably before that.
Yes, before that. And here we are the 10th or 11th of, tomorrow will be 11th of February, and we're still at it.
You're right.
And kids aren't used to that, you know, and, you know, I'm pleased from the standpoint that I feel like some of my kids are like, okay, I'm tired of Coach Dennis barking at me. I got to get away from Coach Dennis for a while.
I think all coaches feel that way.
Yeah.
I mean, all players feel that way toward coaches in the season and stuff.
I mean, this beloved guy in this community, Gary Sheffield, I hated him at the time. I didn't realize how important it became later on. And, you know, it took me a while. It's taken them a while. You know, so they're ready to do something else. I understand that.
I can see that as an official a lot of times. You're doing a couple games, you heard this team's pretty good or not bad.
Right.
You're expecting a game, and all of a sudden you notice this team's just not playing as hard as I'm expecting them to play. And I think it's because when you have a long season, some of them are already thinking about the next thing coming up.
Well, you know, when I started coaching, we had an 18-game regular season.
Right.
Now we're up to 22, but we didn't expand the season yet. So I don't know. I'm not a big believer in the 22-game season personally. I was at the time, but now I'm kind of backed off because I'm very careful when we pick days off. You know, we were fortunate to play Friday night, and the kids had Saturday off, and they had Sunday off.
They don't have as many off days when you add
No,
more
they
games
don't.
in the same amount of time.
They don't have, and we didn't play a game. We didn't get one game, a non-conference game rescheduled, which was okay with me, you know. But I think that does happen. I think that does happen.
I agree.
And I think my kids, you know, we're not the biggest team around. And I think my kids are worn down. I think we are physically worn down. That's why I tried to give them a couple of days off here, helping us that we would be better for Wednesday. We came in, we practiced for about an hour and a half. We watched videotape for about 30 minutes, and then we practiced for about an hour and a half. And we practiced hard tonight. And I thought they responded really well tonight. Tomorrow we'll back off a little bit. We'll still watch some videotape. We're spending a lot of time watching
And
videotape.
sometimes this late in the season is probably good to back off
Yes.
a little bit, keep their legs fresh, and
Yeah, we'll probably only go, since they're not here with me tonight, I'll say this on the air, we'll probably only go about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes tomorrow. You know?
right.
So, you know, we got a long trip in front of
And
us.
mentally that'll help them, I think.
I think so. I think they still want to play, but they just don't want
yeah.
Coach Den barking at them all the time.
Oh yeah. You just need a little bit of things like that help out. And
I think so. I hope so.
So we covered your seniors and your juniors. You have one sophomore. Reagan Shields.
We have two sophomores, Ion Brown.
Ion Brown and
Reagan Shields.
And then your two freshmen.
Two freshmen.
Harley O'Connor and then Kate Miller, who at the beginning of the season, who was getting in the game, getting her feet wet, and as the season prolonged, she kept getting more and more minutes.
Right.
Eventually, her name was getting announced at the beginning of the ball game.
Yeah, her. You know, my plan early in the year with Kate, and we talked about this, was you're allowed to play 6 quarters a night. So I wanted her to go play some JV games, which she did early, and she played pretty well in the JV games. And then we switched over. Okay, you're just playing varsity. We brought her off the bench, and then we slowly inserted her in the starting lineup. And you know, Kate and Harley, two freshmen, they played a 15 or 16 game season last year, and they got a lot of time off during Christmas. We let our junior high kids take a week to 10 days off, depending on how the schedule runs. Well, they didn't get that opportunity this year. And so when you got freshman kids who go from a 15 game season to a 22
game
games.
season.
That's huge. That's a big jump.
That's a big jump.
Kate's had a great year. I'm really pleased with Kate. You know, she's a basketball kid moving forward. She got great goals, which I love. Harley, if she was sitting here, she would say she feels like Coach didn't picks on her. You know, she does some things in the JV game that she can get away with. And in the varsity game, I don't let her get away with it because I want her to value the ball a little bit more and stuff like that. But she's been a trooper. She's come in and practice every day with us, and she's led the JV team against us at times during practice. Ayana and Bregan, you know, both those kids have played over 150 minutes for us at the varsity level. Last year, I think they played less than 15. And we were just talking about them. My coach Dad was just talking about them before I came over. You know, they've come so far in the last 20 months. So, you know, we're pleased with them. You know, I know every coach says this, but man, I have great kids. This is one of my favorite all-time teams. And I'd be the best team, but we're pretty easy to coach. And, you know, I took a player out Friday night in the game, and she was yelling back at us, okay, which deep down inside I kind of like that. There's that competitive spirit in her. But I had to because I have 4 younger kids in the game, sitting on the bench and stuff like that, or playing. And I wanted the younger kids to say, oh, okay, he'll take the juniors and seniors out too. It's not a power thing, it's a program thing. And, you know,
Well, I've coached too, and sometimes when you're pulling a kid out, it's not that kid didn't do anything wrong, but the girl I want to go in the game plays that position.
Right.
And I want her to get some time right now. So you're pulling this kid, and now this kid's not happy, like, I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
They don't think like a coach thinks. They're thinking like a player.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and you can understand that sometimes.
You know, I got 1,000 stories. You know, at Circleville.
Go ahead, we got time.
Okay, I had a player named Ashley Palmer, who was she played college soccer, and she was a North-South representative for us, first team All-Ohio in basketball, and she went to Indiana University on a soccer visit. And we had a scrimmage on Monday, and you know, she came and talked to me about it. Probably about 6-7 weeks before it happened. Said, you know, Coach, I'm going to be at practice on Saturday. I said, it's going to be okay, Ashley. So we scrimmage on Monday, so I'll just rotate you in. I had 9 varsity players. I said, when you're the 9th player in, you'll rotate in with the first group. Eventually, we'll come back to you. Okay. Well, I had 2 freshmen in that group. That was player 6 and 7. So, honestly, this happened when I said, okay, you 5 are starting, and Ashley didn't start. The 2 freshmen were standing there, and I'm like, okay, come on, we got to come over and say, Coach, you're not starting Ashley Palmer. Yeah, I know, it'll be okay. And 4 years later at the banquet, they got up and they said, our first scrimmage, Ashley Palmer didn't start. And if Coach didn't want to go start Ashley Palmer, he sure had to go start us and we didn't follow the record. And I'm like, I just worked for another 4 years. So, yeah, it's not a power thing. I think it's more of a program thing. You know, it's like math class. If I have a great math student, I want that person to work harder. You know, if I have a kid in the back who's struggling to get a D, you know, I'm going to be helping them a lot more. Well, basketball and athletics-wise, I'm going to coach my best players hard. Okay? I don't think a lot of coaches do that. Because they're afraid they're going to lose their best players. And so, why not coach your best players hard? I love them. I love them the same. You know, I tell them all the time, you know, something happened, God forbid, mom and dad, you know, you can come over with me and I'll take care of you till you graduate high school and get on your way in life.
Some of the biggest college coaches used to say, if I'm not yelling at you, I don't care about you.
You know, I learned that very early in my athletic career. And, you know, Gary Schaefer and I, I struggled at times with Gary Schaefer. And it wasn't until my junior and senior year that I knew his expectations, and I had to follow those. Same thing, he'd get on me, and that would be good for the whole team.
Last year in the first round, the Trace girls drew Gallia and had to go to Gallia. And just being on that bus, that was a killer. So do you have, what's your key to long bus rides to get your team rolling out of the gate?
That's a great question, because as we speak, we are looking at, we're 45 minutes to an hour in. We're going to find a rest stop. And I know there's one on there. I don't want to go to the one that's real close to Gallia. We're going to get out, we're going to stretch our legs. We're going to hit the bathroom if we have to. We're going to get there in plenty of time if the weather's good.
Get one close and you can just jog them from there on.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm a little bit worried about the weather. And you got to take all those into consideration, all that stuff. If it was a little earlier start, we're still feeling this process out with the new 7 divisions. I would have asked for us to get out of school earlier and maybe win an hour into the trip, ate somewhere, and then got back on the bus. But I don't feel comfortable doing that. I feel more comfortable with kids being at school and doing their normal day. Making it as normal as possible.
Right. I always, whether it's softball, basketball, whatever sport it is, especially during the softball season, during that spring break, the games that these girls play while they're off and not going to school, it's the same with the basketball kids. They get out of routine, and they're just night and day.
Absolutely. And my team's a little fragile. That if something knocks them out of the routine, we don't bounce back real well. When we went over to Madison Place, they have one senior kid. But they turn the lights out on us. And, Coach, they might do that every day. But I wasn't expecting that. So
I see it.
We're showing out some material. Same fire, we're going to start the work expected. So we do. We try to keep that routine. Learned that a long time. That's good. Keep it coming, man. You guys are good.
What's the best coaching advice you've ever received?
Hey, you know what? I was in a Zoom meeting with a guy named Brad Stevens. There was about 20 coaches around. And this was a Zoom meeting before Zoom meetings.
Right.
I didn't know what a Zoom meeting was. So when COVID hit, and they said they were going to do Zoom meetings, I'm like, I know what a Zoom meeting is. Okay? So everybody introduced themselves, and Brad Stevens, the first question was, what do you look for in a college player? And at the time, he was coaching the Boston Celtics. And he said, well, I look for the 4 skills of basketball. And I thought to myself, I don't know what my reaction was on the computer, but okay, I'm going to learn something. And I had a red shirt on that day. He's a coach in a red shirt. You don't believe there's 4 skills? And I said, enlighten me, coach. Because I've always thought there were 3 skills. Of course, he mentioned shooting, passing, and dribbling. And his 4th skill was playing hard. And I'm like, that's a given. Everybody plays hard. And he asked me that. So that's a given. Everybody plays hard. No, they don't. Think about it. It's a skill. He said, you're trying to make kids play hard, but every once in a while you get that kid who just plays hard. And that's a skill. And so I thought about that a lot. And when I went to Coach Schaefer, I was in a meeting with Brad Stevens, the coach of the Boston Celtics, and he threw a nugget out there. And I told Coach about that. He was like, and then he's thinking about it. He goes, yeah. I kind of asked, Coach, let me ask you a question. What was my best skill? And you have to know Coach Schaefer a little bit. He said, playing hard. Then I would pick dribbling and shooting. And everybody knows you didn't pass the ball. So that would be your last skill. But, Bob Racine, she does a lot of things that drive me crazy, but Bob always plays hard.
Constant motor.
Never takes a play off. And that's what keeps Bob on the floor a lot. She's learned the fact that if she makes a mistake down the one end, she hustles back to the other end. Her reward is she's going to stay in the game. Thanks. And she does. She plays extremely hard.
She's been that kid since
Third grade.
Yeah.
Yes. Now we got to get her under control a little bit, which is a lot better from last year.
Yeah.
When I was refereeing some AAU tournaments, during dead times, I'm talking to some coaches, what they're looking for in kids. A couple of the things they said was, all these kids can play. But we're looking at, they all can play, they all can shoot. I'm looking at how well they play with the kids off the other kids. Are they passing? Are they doing things? Are they setting a screen for somebody else? Not only the screen for them. And then, how are they when they're not in the game? Are they watching the game, watching what's going on, clapping for their, or are they looking down and looking sad and just waiting to go in? So, a couple coaches said that's what they look for a lot of times in players going from high school to college.
Absolutely. I think the next step in our program is we got to have kids that are students of the game. Okay? I think we get beat, although we're having a lot of experience issues. We get beat a lot of times because we don't know what to expect, and we should know what to expect.
Right.
You're going to have a Lovett girl up here. She plays forward, and I want to try to get some kids that be the goldfish as they talked about in the TV show. You got to forget what happened. You got to move forward. And when we speed up the game and we do full court stuff, we're not moving forward as quickly as we want to. And it's just a matter of catching up the speed of the game and things like that. Don't want to get there. We want to get there 1st of January, not March 1st. Next year.
Yeah.
So that's the conflict that coaches and players have. So I think Brad Stevens, even though he's not coaching, he's the president of he's the president of the Boston Celtics. I really look for him to get involved in USA basketball as he gets older at the Olympic level, or he might end up at Indiana University too as a head coach back here. But I think Brad Stevens is one of the best minds in basketball. He's got the Celtics back on top, and I'm sure there's others out there, but I appreciate Brad Stevens. And I'm a big believer in. We watched Gaia play against Fairland. I watched that over the weekend, and I'm watching some of the things that Coach Buchanan's team does. And I feel like we're taking steps to get there. He's been there for 17 years, I think, and it takes a while to get there.
Coach, we appreciate you joining us here tonight, and best of luck to you in this tournament. Stay in it as long as you can, sir.
I love it. I tell my wife this, that as a player and as a coach, coaching girls basketball has been the greatest thrill of my life when it comes to basketball. The girls know that I love them. I think that's why they hang around with me a little bit. But it has been, and where it was, 26 years ago, 25 years ago, where it is now, is just absolutely incredible. So as I get older, I take a seat on the other side. I'm going to really look forward to seeing where it goes. Thank you guys for doing this. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right, man. Nice meeting you guys.
Coach Denner, the Washington Courthouse Lady Lions, we wish them the luck and appreciate you spending the evening.
All right. No
Kennels here with us tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Roller Haven is located at 1640 U.S. Highway 22 Northwest,
Thanks, guys.
Washington Courthouse, Ohio.
No big news
The
coming
perfect
across
place
there
for
or
a
anything?
day out with the family,
Okay.
birthday parties, and even an organization event or fundraiser. Check out our website,
Everything was taped. It didn't go live, so
Okay.
nobody watched it
or
live
give us a
tonight.
call at 740-335-6481, and we can help plan your event. We look forward to seeing you there.
I said nice things about you guys. So if you guys get up there. I expect you to say I like that. Hey, good luck, Charlie.
Hello, Troy Bach at Car Express. Want to wish Miami Trace and Washington Courthouse best of luck. Thank you for supporting local businesses. You can check us out online at Car Express. That's CarXpressWCH.com. We're at 321 South Elm Street, Washington Courthouse. Stop in or apply online.
You'll be here.
If you want to come up and sit here, and you want to bring up 2 girls at a time, we're all just going to go by themselves. That's fine. That's fine. We can pummel them.
We got the hammer coming up.
Those keys on the floor. Ellie is doing it. She's taking her time.
I got you guys next year for volleyball, and you're not going to be here.
Is that Groom's keys? You could probably scoot over.
Well, I can't leave you before 4.
See yourselves?
Yeah.
Beautiful, right?
Just as long as I'm not on there, we're doing good. That's our mic.
Can you see your paper?
Yeah, I can take mine. Okay.
You're ready?
Go ahead, Joe.
I'm Joe Davis, by the way, and also known as the voice of the Ohio State Club football. Just another. I also referee volleyball. I do basketball, but forget that. Just letting them know who I am. All right, you're the seniors, right?
Yeah.
All right. Talk about how'd your season go this year from start to finish? Start with you, right on down the line.
Okay, how did our season go? I feel like this year, like we kind of started off at the beginning just like with fundamentals and building the basics, and then as we've like evolved throughout the season, we've kind of worked on like just playing together and becoming more aggressive and just trying to incorporate different things.
And feel free to step in with something if you want to. If you want something she says, spark something, go ahead and talk. Don't wait for your turn.
Let's introduce these three.
Oh, that's right. We didn't do that. Sorry.
How about that? We got Addison Butts here, and Soraya Lopez, and Ellie Robinette.
And this is AKA
The Hammer.
The Hammer. When we talk about the game, I just say The Hammer.
Yeah, it's got to carry over the volleyball.
And you're the best Robinette of the ones playing.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, yes. Yeah.
To make sure he understands that.
Yeah.
As the senior, Ellie,
Yeah.
compare what it's been like when you were the freshman to where you're at now as a senior who's been on this varsity club for the last 2 or 3 seasons.
It's definitely different this year. I've noticed that everyone has been coming together more than what it has been in the past. Like my freshman year, there was definitely like groups, like people were separated into groups. Not everyone was incorporated in everything. And here tonight, pretty much most of the team is here. So I think it's good to see that over the years that we've been becoming more as a team and becoming together as the season is going, and we're still going strong because I noticed at the end of the season, the last 3 years, we've all separated, been like mad, angry, like just becoming chippy with each other. And this year, we've all still stuck together, like we haven't separated or anything. So.
Before we get to Miss Lopez, Hattie, I'm going to ask you, who played your freshman year, then decided to concentrate on the volleyball, which got you a scholarship. Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
And then deciding, hey, I basically accomplished what I wanted to do with volleyball. I'm going to go back and give this basketball thing a shot one more year. How's that been for you? Picking up basically 3 years from the last till you hit that court again.
It's been good. I'm really happy that I decided to play and just to come in and have fun because basketball's a sport I've played forever, minus the 2 years obviously where I focused on volleyball. But it's definitely a lot different than my freshman year, and I'm happy I came back. I've been having fun this season.
Now the coach you had your freshman year is probably your best one that you've ever had in your life.
My favorite.
I'm just guessing. Now, Soraya, come out your freshman year, which we all know, basically with our numbers that we had you not done that, we're a 2-quarter ball club all season, but since you played, we was able to play 4-quarter JV games, and basically what we have called, this is a Ben Ackley term, is a program kid who, you know, has been there from the beginning to now your senior year, has put in all the work. Last year with the injury, I know was tough, but, you know, not, you know, getting the minutes like the other 2 seniors have, but without what you do on the daily, whether it's practice or off days, putting the work in and being a leader, voted a captain. Explain a little bit how the whole process for you being a part of this basketball.
For me, when I first started, I didn't really know how it would go because it was my first time ever picking up a basketball. And ever since I first started, I loved it. My freshman year coach, you, and Detweiler would stay and they would help me practice and they would help me learn the fundamentals along with the other seniors that year, like Libby and Emma Pitstick. They would also stay and help me. And I feel like that really helped me feel like I was part of the family and I belonged. And then my sophomore year, same thing with that. I was a part of something bigger and I wanted to stick around and I wanted to like help with the kiddie camp and be there for the players. Even though I got hurt my junior year, I still loved it and I loved sticking around and I loved being a part of the team and I loved cheering them on even though I couldn't play. I would never once for a second think about quitting. And then my senior year, though I don't get my minutes, I still really love it.
Good deal. Going into your Ellie, sorry, your 4 years, out of your 1 year, then your last year. Can you guys think of one moment that stands out the most in your basketball careers? Addie, we'll start with you.
Can we not start with me?
We'll not start with Addie. Ellie?
I mean, I don't think I have one moment that stands out rather than just being able to be a part of this basketball team. Like, I wouldn't want to be with no one else every single day for 2 hours rather than these guys here. Like, I'm going to miss it. I still cry to this day because my last home game was a week and a half ago. Like, it still hurts. Like, it hurts me. Like, and knowing that I'll still come back and watch my sister, like, I wish we get more years to play together because I feel like we would be a great duo to go together. I just, wish we were about the same age so we could still go. But I think probably the best part would be getting to have to play 1 year with my sister because this is the first time that I've ever got to have her on the team with me. Like,
That was a question I was going to ask
Yeah.
you coming up was,
Yeah.
what was it like being able, because a lot of brothers don't get to play with each other.
No,
One
yeah.
graduates, one comes up. But
Yeah.
you got to play with each other, from basically the same squad.
Yeah.
Now, how
it's good. I love it. I think I would love to have more years. This is probably the first sport besides volleyball that it's our first year, or first and my last that we get to play together. I seriously wish we had more years because it's honestly fun having a sibling on the team. You know each other. Like you probably practice at home with each other. Like we've been doing this since we were little, so it's just something that I wish I had more time with was playing with my younger sister because it's fun. It's fun having someone that you do this every day with. So yeah, it's something I will definitely miss when I leave is not getting to play more years with her. But
Is there any game this year that sticks out for any of you? Any game when you're thinking about it on a weekend or something, your mind goes back and remembers that game.
I would say the second time we played Courthouse, I think we only ended up winning that game by 3. Like just being a rivalry game, and then on top of that, like it was senior night and stuff. It was just a fun game because it was close and it was competitive.
Let's talk about that senior night with you a little bit because you put in a couple of miles that day.
I put in a lot of miles that night.
You want to tell the folks watching what exactly went on with you that basically from Thursday on through Sunday?
So basically, on Friday, I drove down to Louisville. I had 2 volleyball games that day, and then we stayed there. I played 3 volleyball games on Saturday morning. I drove back Saturday night for senior night and to play Courthouse, and then I woke up really early on Sunday morning to go back to Louisville to play 2 more volleyball games.
Now, we know, everyone sitting at this table know that you won the basketball game. How'd the volleyball games go?
They went pretty well, I think. It's been second. Yeah, they went well. We played some really good teams, like it's called Power League. So we played
Can
some
you
really
remember
good
them?
teams. Yeah, but it went pretty well.
You did. All right, Saray?
I would say probably both times that we played McLean. That's a very memorable games for me because just how much effort we put in. It might as well have been one of our rivalry games. Just how much effort everyone put in and how hard everyone tried. And just how much we played as a team and how we got along. I feel like those 2 games I think about a lot, and I really enjoyed playing with my teammates.
The second time I was at that game, I didn't get to see all your games this year because I was doing other things, but because I refereed. But on that game, you guys got behind, and then were coming back at the end. And it was
down by 4.
Showing you guys never gave up. You fought to the very end. And that was something I mentioned on the air, and I liked about your squad. You fight to the very end. You don't say, "Oh, we're behind by 9 points with 3 minutes to go. This game's over." No, you fought. You still had a chance to win that game, and I applaud you guys for that.
There's an old saying, I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but a lot of coaches live by this, is that the saying is, you're only as good as your seniors let you be. And if you have seniors that drag a team down, then that pulls the morale down. But when you have seniors that lift people up and contribute and work hard from minute to minute to the last minute, then that carries over, no matter whether you're playing basketball, volleyball, or just living life. So, any last words before we get some other girls up here, ladies?
I don't think so.
All right, we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
Maddie,
Camera
Saray,
and say
Ellie.
hi, bye.
We'll get the juniors up here now.
There's only 3 here.
Get the 3 juniors.
There's 4 on the sheet. There's one not here.
Riley's not here. Riley's on the injured list.
Okay.
You guys didn't want to come down here and sit? You're going to have to draw her out of her shell.
Oh, God.
She will be very...
It's delayed. It's bothering me. Why? I should wear black.
Okay, joining us now are the 3 of the 4 juniors that's on the ball club. and surgeries and stuff.
Introduce him.
So sitting with us here to the far left is Miss Katie Bach. In the middle is Callie Kirkpatrick, and directly to my left is Zoe Griswold.
I always said it's always hard to. I see girls that are playing basketball, then you see them later, and it's like, who's that? Because you don't look the same. You got your hair down and stuff. You don't look like when you play a basketball game. But that's why I want to introduce you people who don't recognize you not on the floor. One thing I want to say before we get started to my 3 juniors, which I was saying on air during the Greenfield game. Shoot the ball. You can't rely on one person. You can't do one thing. You're wide open. Oh, no, I'm going to give it to her. No, I'm going to give it to her. You guys can shoot. I've watched you play. Shoot the ball.
There we go. Okay, ladies. Just basically just one at a time. Go through. We'll start with you, Miss Katie. What's been your most memorable moment this season as a Lady Panther basketball player?
I would say just like always hanging out with the team and just I feel like we're a really close team this year and just we always go to each other's houses and go do things outside of basketball, so it really means a lot.
So everything's good off the floor as well as on the floor. And that does help. That lingers in a player's mind a lot of times. How well everything plays off the floor. You just play on the floor, then you go off your own way. But if you guys click off the floor as well as on the floor, that's a good thing for a team.
Callie?
My turn. I think probably beating Courthouse for the second time because we haven't beaten it twice in a while, and I think it was, since the second time was a close game, I think that made it even better. That way we won.
Okay, go ahead, Zoe.
I would say the same thing, probably. Beating Courthouse twice. I feel like we haven't done that in a hot minute.
It's kind of ironic that the 3 seniors that was just up here said exactly the same thing as you 3 did. Basically, so that just says that you guys are all on the same wavelength as a team and understanding what's going on as a group, and which is why, like Joey just mentioned to the last group at Greenfield, you guys got down by double digits, was able to get that game to 4 late in the game to where had them scared a little bit, and where that was anybody's ball game at that point, which contributes to you guys staying together and doing the right things. Now, but all 3 of you have been playing since your freshman year, since your seventh grade year. You guys have been part of that junior group. What's been the most different from that first time back in the junior high ranks to where you're at now? And what do you guys want to accomplish as this thing moves on, not only through the tournament, but when next season gets here as well?
Have you thought that far ahead?
Seniors.
Yeah, I think like filling the role of the seniors, I think it's like our job to keep our team together. Because I feel like we keep getting closer as a team. So I think it's like our job next year to keep that like tight knit group and just keep everyone at their best.
So, for instance, what you're just saying, but you got freshmen coming in next year. There are 8th graders this year.
Yeah.
Some of them may move up and get some varsity time or be on the bench. Your job, you're saying, as seniors, let them know they're part of the team.
Yeah, lift them
It's
up.
not like, hey, we're seniors, you freshmen don't
Yeah.
exist. It's like, no, you're part of the team. You as seniors, because you remember when you were freshmen and you were sophomores, you want to let them know, hey, we're a team. Whatever you do, you're a team. And that helps the whole team, and that'll help you guys out. And I like that.
So coming up here on tournament time, which is 2 days away, traveling to Sheridan, do you guys know anything about them at all?
They're guard heavy. They don't really have a post that they start. They like to drive a lot.
People
Yeah,
on threes.
aggressive towards the basket. Just gotta. They're like Hillsborough, so we gotta see how our matchups are and just work with what we got because we're not very guard heavy, for sure.
What do you think was one of your key factors that on the games you won this year? Your win-loss games, but you won more than you lost. What was the key factor that helped you win more than you lost?
You have an answer when you go.
I think definitely like we all push each other to a different level, and I think we all have standards for everybody. So definitely just playing our best, and I think shooting. We have good nights when we shoot. That definitely like puts us in a better position. So I think that definitely helps us, and not like getting in our heads when we mess up or turn the ball over. A lot of us just give up, and I think that Wednesday if we just play our best, I think we have a pretty good shot.
Good thought. And just remember, if you shoot and miss, don't stop.
Right.
You can't be 3 for 4 if you shot the first one and didn't shoot the next 3. You're going to be 0 for 1. So if you're going to be 3 for 4, you got to keep shooting, and that's part of what you were just saying.
Sure. Anything to say before we move on to the next group, ladies?
What was it like having someone talk about you during the game? How's it feel to have someone talking about you during the game?
Good, I guess.
How's it feel to have your father being the one talking on the game?
We can't hear him. We don't know what he's saying behind that mic.
Yeah,
You
well,
guys
you
know
can
he's being
I
true.
always hear
You can watch it later.
This junior group, I've been fathering them since they were in 3rd
I was going to
grade.
say you guys were all playful,
Yeah.
right?
On this basketball floor. Katie come in junior high,
came late.
but the rest of the junior group and some of these sophomores have been listening to me yell since they could walk. So they probably tuned me out by
Yeah,
now.
that's right down, yeah. Well, I had the same thing sort of, like I coached I took Massey, and I had girls that were, when I went in to coach, that I had been refereeing, and now I'm coaching. And then after I quit coaching, now I'm refereeing them again. So no matter what, you can't get away from some people sometimes, no matter how much you try.
It's like a bad fitting. I just keep turning up. Thank you, ladies. You can go back and finish your food now.
It's kind of cold.
But just 3 sophomores, or 4, and we'll throw a chair. I didn't know if they were all 4 here or not.
They are.
What she said.
I'm sitting by Sharon.
Why? Because
Where's the other one? There's 4 of you.
Allie says she's leaving.
Allison, come on real quick.
You just get on camera.
Come get a
real quick.
picture taken.
Let us
We'll introduce you.
Are we scooting?
stand right behind them.
Stay behind Grace. There you
She
go.
has to stand.
There she is.
Guys.
She's small like she is on the court.
This is the sophomore group. We got Riley Ferguson, Gracie Lovett, Allison Reeves, and Elise Day. Our Fantastic 4.
Fantastic 4. That sounds like a good thing.
So
I'll
later,
tell you the same thing I just told them. When you get in a game, shoot the ball. We were at the Greenfield game, and you pass for 20 minutes. Finally, toward the end of the game, somebody decided to shoot and made like 3 in a row. It's like, oh, you mean if I shoot, I might make a basket? Yes, and if you miss one, like I told them, you can't be 3 for 4 if you shoot one and miss, and don't shoot the next 3. So if you miss one, don't say, I'm not shooting it. Shooting.
so Miss Ferguson, you've been on the shelf here with an injury. So first few games, you come in off the bench. basically your first most action as a varsity player. Hurt a little bit last season as well. Yeah. So, but we'll get past this injury bug. But being part of this group, how's that been for you so far this season?
It's been very good. Been supportive of each other and just trying to play hard and keep pushing until the end of the season.
Now, you three, other than Gracie, you two, first major minutes on the varsity level. Allie, who reserve starter last year, Elise, reserve starter last year. The transition from playing against the JV squads to the varsity squad, Allie, tell us a little bit about how you feel is the difference, the level.
I mean, I definitely think it's more competitive, definitely faster paced, but I mean, having our older members in practice and ones who played varsity last year, they've really helped like get us integrated in and make it flow well.
Elise, who's one of our defensive specialists, guaranteed to get a steal or a poke away at least as soon as she hits the floor. What's it like splitting time? You splitting time with the JV and the varsity, and knowing that that's kind of a unique situation where you may get 1 minute on the varsity, or if somebody gets in foul trouble. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Your minutes now become 5 or 10. Just go through basically how you prepare yourself to get ready for that.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the season, I was mostly just like all JV. But like as the season's gone on and like I've been working hard in practice, I've played more. I mean, obviously depends on who we're playing, what people are doing. But I mean, it's tiring when I play 3 to 4 quarters of JV and 3 quarters of varsity some days. But I've enjoyed splitting the time. I feel like it's a good in between.
Okay, Gracie will make you talk. Being the starting point guard for this team now for the second season, so started as a freshman, now back as a sophomore. Tell us a little bit how you feel. What's your main responsibility for this point?
Let's get the ball into people. That's great. That's great.
I had the over-under at 8.5 words, and she got the 4.
How do you feel when you're the point guard and you're setting up one of the girls? Oh, you're wide open. I'm going to give you the ball, and they get it, and they don't shoot. That's your set. Your job. You just said it. Your job is to set them up. You set them up, and then they don't do anything. Does that affect you as a point guard?
I mean, is it frustrating? Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, wait, you're gonna mess me up.
So, going into tournament play, we've had the regular season. It's over and done with. You guys ended up 12 and 10. What's the one thing that comes to your mind right off the top about this season that basically is a fond or one of the better memories you have throughout this season? What comes to your head right off the rip?
I just think overall this season we've enjoyed playing together a lot. We've definitely had positive attitudes and lifted each other up, even like with our losses, and kept each other going when we're through tough games and stuff.
Yeah, my dad was like talking to me at the beginning of the season. He was like, he looked at our schedule and was like, I'll be really happy if we get 8 wins, and we got 12. So I mean, that's pretty good for a new coach especially. So I just feel like we played together a lot this year too. And I mean, we all like each other, so I feel like it's been fun like getting closer.
You ditto? What'd you say?
Gracie was singing it.
Well, that's one thing the seniors, the juniors, and now you have all said. One of the best things they thought about the whole year was the camaraderie the whole team has had with each other. That's showing. It's good.
We'll wish you guys all the best of luck come Wednesday. And it seems like no matter what sport it is, come tournament play, everyone always has to go to Sheridan. I would love at some time to come home from there with a W. So let's do that Wednesday.
We'll be there.
What are you planning on doing on the bus ride there?
Sleeping.
So that you're prepared to play when you get there.
Sleeping. You get the rest.
All right, lady. Thank you. Go finish your food.
Freshman.
Okay, stepping in here now, we have Maya Dado and Lawson Grooms. Bree Robinette just left. She had to leave. So those are our three varsity representative freshmen here. So 2 of 3, Maya, Lawson, thanks for joining us. You want to just talk about, both of you, just take turns on what your first year at the high school, playing JV games and then getting some minutes at the varsity level.
Yeah, it's been a fun season. I've enjoyed being able to have the opportunity to play out, even if it's only for a little bit. Every few games, it's exhausting, but it's fun, and I've enjoyed it, and I appreciate the opportunities.
Yeah, it's nothing like middle school basketball. It's way like faster and everything's different, but it's a lot of fun. And practicing is fun with the older kids.
That's John's wallet.
Your daughter's paging your credit card.
Let me ask you two a question. He's doing that. Let me ask you two a question. Compare. Okay, you're on the reserve team. You're a freshman.
Sure.
Beginning of the season, you're a freshman on the reserve team. But at the end of the season, now we're at the end of the season, you've got more playing time. Inform us of how it went, your feelings of starting your very first game to now the season's over, how your transition went.
It's a big difference. At the beginning of the season, it was more nerve-wracking, but definitely more relaxed, I think, just being on JV. But now, like the transition from doing both games and like in between, it's different, but I like it.
How was your feeling going the first time from reserves and the first time they called up and now you're coach, you're in, and your feeling of going in your very first varsity game?
Oh my gosh, my heart was beating so fast. So I was like, this is really happening. But it was a lot of fun, and I was really happy. So
Yeah, going from playing like the whole JV game to like getting in like at like the end of the varsity game, it's kind of scary because you never played on varsity and it's all the older kids, like you're playing seniors in high school. And getting in is like really scary because you don't think you're gonna get in, and then you do, and you're just like.
Like the Greenfield game, you got in at the end of the game
Yeah.
and were getting, because of the fouls, you guys were getting some playing time. And that was an important game, and you guys came back. It was really close. You had a shot.
yeah, it's always fun to be able to step up and be called on when you're needed. So
just take those experiences and build on those, so it'll make you even better, next season and the seasons beyond. You guys got a long way to go yet.
yeah,
22 games a season plus tournament, so you got close to 80 games left.
yeah.
So, well,
Yeah, we played 22 games, and that included our tournament and a couple games in the tournament. So you guys are playing
Yeah, it's a
a
lot.
boatload of games in the same amount of time.
well, we wish you all the best of luck on Wednesday. Bring home a victory from Sheridan.
Thank you.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Right, you are 808.
Would you like me?
Any one of those three, doesn't matter. As long as you're one of them. Is there only 2 of you coming over?
Two of us, yeah.
Where's the old ball-headed guy? I mean, you.
Way past his bedtime.
Well, and we're just let you know, we're editing it out, all the things the girls said about you guys. It's being edited out. Are you comfortable?
Ready to ask the questions?
Ready to ask the questions. All right, first of all, let's talk about your season, the whole season. First of all, as a coach, you've already know your players. You've looked at your schedule. You see that. Let's talk about your expectations. Did your team meet or exceed your expectations? And then how your season went from start to finish, the season.
I think when I first looked over the schedule and after a few weeks of practice, I told the girls late in the season that I was kind of hopeful for 8 wins. I thought that would be a challenging but realistic goal.
Right.
And we've exceeded that.
Right. That's a good thing.
And I give the credit. Excuse me. I give the credit to the girls for that because it's not easy to change coaches, and we didn't have much of a summer.
And they were close on a couple of games.
Pardon?
They were close on a couple of games that they lost. So.
Yeah, we had a couple close games, and I wasn't hired until June, and then we had a very sporadic summer because of that. So there were a lot of things working against us, and I think the girls showed a lot of resilience and flexibility to come together and get 12 wins out of this season. We had some tough teams that really challenged us, and last week's schedule was a bit brutal, but
throughout the season, we talked to one senior that was here tonight about her injury. Talk about your injuries you had and overcoming those injuries throughout the season. Players stepping up and whatever.
Yeah, we've had to. We didn't have a choice because we've had 3, including a JV player, have 3 season-ending injuries, and especially the 2 varsity girls, they were playing. I mean, it's not like they were sitting the bench, so we had to adjust pretty quickly and figure out some new roles and get girls to play that hadn't played much on the varsity level. And that's been part of my reflection too, is there's been a lot of girls playing significant minutes on the varsity level for the first time, and that's not ever an easy thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
So again, credit to the girls for adjusting, coming up, and filling the roles that were
And I've
needed.
not got to see the team the whole year because I do other things, and I wasn't able to come in the last part of the season. I've been there the last 3 or 4 games and watching the girls, and I like the way the girls gel and play together. I can see that from an outsider point looking in.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. I appreciate you saying that because obviously as a coach, that's an important thing that we want to happen.
I just tell them to shoot more.
Now, sometimes it's not the amount of shots, it's just the shots going in.
You're right.
We struggle to make baskets, and that's been a theme all year. It's something I would love to wave a magic wand and change because...
One thing I've said, I don't know if I said it on air, I may have, but I've said your team is very unselfish. You know, it's like sometimes I've coached teams, and you've got girls and boys. Sometimes you get that selfish kid that as soon as it hits their hand, they're shooting, or they're driving and throwing it up. But your team keeps looking for someone open, and even though they may be open, they're trying to get it to someone else. And sometimes they're too unselfish.
Sure.
But that's one good thing about your team is the fact that they're unselfish enough that they're looking for the team. They're trying to get to the ball inside, or they're trying to get it to one of the other girls who's open for the shot, which is a good thing. Sometimes it's too good. You know, if you're open, shoot the ball. But if you're not, and I've noticed that about your team. They're very unselfish, willing. Whatever they do, they're doing it for the team.
Yeah, I agree. I would like us at times to be a little more selfish, as odd as that sounds, but I'd rather have it be this way than let's have 2 or 3 girls that as soon as they get it, we know the shot's going to go up, whether it's a good one or not. So I'd rather it be this way than the other.
I mean, you look at your game against Greenfield. You're behind, and they're coming down, pass, and all of a sudden, one of the girls shoots a 3, swish, comes back down, she shoots a 3, swish, she comes around to this side, she shoots a 3, swish. like, where was that in the first, second, third quarter, you know, sometimes. But, you know, it's like, okay, we got one group. Can we get 2 or 3 doing that? But at least at that time, they become unselfish and fought for the team to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a good example of that against Greenfield, and thought we were going to try to overcome our deficit, but we lost Gracie to foul trouble, and then Pryor hit that big 3, and then we had a turnover, and it was just kind of the It was kind of the
I thought you were coming back.
I really, there was a moment where I thought to myself, we're going to get this game, and tried to get the girls to believe that too, and we've pulled out a couple close games, and I think that's why I and the girls had some confidence in that game to be able to pull it out.
Talk about your team from start to finish. What did you see? Where did you see your team growing, and what sparked the team from the first 3 or 4 games that became the team the last 3 or 4 games? What jumps out in your mind?
I think just having time together with me, because the first 3 or 4 games, it was our first games with me. So there's a lot of figuring out how is Coach Day working a game. I had to figure out how the girls are playing. And then by the end, I think we kind of reached a little bit of a comfort level, at least I hope so, to know each other well. And I think we became a little tougher, a little bit more physical.
Winning the national championship helped them, what?
Yeah, my pedigree has followed me here.
Let me see, I had something else here.
While you're looking, let me ask Coach Scott, your first trip around the sun with the as a JV coach. Speak on that a little bit. How
It was definitely a great experience. It's kind of a learning curve. I played basketball for a couple years in high school. Wasn't the most successful player, but I loved the game. So getting back involved was amazing. The girls made it a dream. We had 8 girls who, 8 different skill sets, all brought something to the table. And, you know, I kind of went with the hot hand approach when it came to lineups. If the lineup was working, I would keep them in. And they would put their egos aside if they had to take a step back that game. And so, you know, I give so much credit to the season we had to them, because they were just, those 8 girls were amazing.
Sometimes the best coach is not the best player, because if you're sometimes that bench kid that gets in and plays a little bit, he's thinking more about what's going on than the kid that gets in and it's just natural for him.
Yeah,
and so you had to work at it. By working at it, you know, then now that you're out of school and you're becoming a coach, now all those things you worked at and thought about helps you become, I think, a better coach.
Yeah, definitely. And this is my first time coaching basketball, but I coach other sports too, and I find a lot of it translated, whether it be football or track, or I've coached baseball a little bit, but, you know, reaching the kids, it's all the same, and just trying to get the best out of it.
Yeah, there's some things that and I've talked to athletic directors before, and they'll just say, well, this guy's a coach. In other words, I can put him to coach bowling, basketball, football, or basketball, you know, whatever, because there are certain things a coach, you got to be as a coach, and he can coach. Then there's coaching a certain sport that you are good at or not good at. You know, football coach, basketball coach, that's your sport. But there's other coaches that can coach no matter where you put them, because they know how to work with kids and work and do that kind of things, and then mix those two together.
Coach, Wednesday night against Sheridan, what do we know, if anything, what they bring to the table? I know you past Sheridan teams are quick, scrappy, and they like to press a lot. That's just been their MO in the past.
They don't press a whole lot this year, but they're strong, they're athletic, which is pretty typical of Sheridan teams, and they really like to pressure on defense. And I don't necessarily mean full court, I just mean when an offensive player catches the ball, they are going to be in their face, handsy, physical, and they're very well coached. That coach has been there for a while, and he does a great job. So we've got quite a challenge ahead of us. But I told the girls today, I hope we won't be wowed or intimidated, because we played, especially recently, a lot of really good teams, and I think it's just going to be an extension of those teams that we played, and now we'll just have to apply that to a tournament setting.
Well, tell them you're not the team you were at the beginning of the season. You know, they have grown. Your team has grown. And to go in with the mindset that we're one of the top-notch teams. It's not how you played all year. How have you played lately? And your team has been playing very well. Your guys and girls playing very well.
And the tournament, on any level, in any sport, it gives every team a fresh start. Now, sometimes that's easier said than done, but I think for us, it's kind of a reset. We're not playing 3 games this week, regardless. So I think there's a little bit of a mental break finally, just because our schedule's been so backloaded that I'm hoping this gives them a little mental and physical reset going into the tournament.
You can say this could be our last game. Especially for seniors, you're going out, but still the other girls, it's going to be your last game until another whole season comes back. Don't be afraid to try things.
Sure.
Don't go up there and just...
Yeah, the pressure's on Sheridan. It's not on us. And I think, and he said it today in practice, Cody did, that there's some freedom in being an underdog and just playing loosely, and I hope that's what we do. I hope we apply the lessons that we've learned all season and use it as a fresh start.
I agree with that. It's like, how many times you hear a football player or something, major league, or going, I guarantee we're going to win this game. If it's the underdog, what do they got to lose? You're expected to lose anyway, so you're being brash. It's not going to make you lose. If it's the bigger team saying, oh, I guarantee we're going to win, that's different. But as the underdog, you're expected, so whatever you do, try, do. You got nothing to do.
And I think in any situation like that, the longer we hang around in the game, the more and more pressure builds on the favorite team, and that gives us an advantage.
Greenfield did that. You guys started coming back, and we could see worry in their eyes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we ran out of time.
Right. And fouls.
Yeah. I wasn't mentioning that. Okay. I asked the girls this while ago. We mentioned it to courthouse. It's a long bus ride. As a coach, what are you thinking of doing or anything, if anything, on the long bus ride to get them prepared to play when you get there? Other than getting off of a long bus ride and stretching and waking them up.
It's funny, I've been thinking about this today. I might find out if we can leave a little earlier than planned, which is always tricky, and maybe stop at a rest area on the other side of Columbus, just get out, stretch, talk, laugh, goof around for a couple minutes, get back on. I'm not sure if that's going to be an option because the bus schedules and driver schedules are pretty difficult to work around.
Drivers. Coaches can decide one thing, the bus drivers can decide something else.
Yeah, so if that's not a possibility, we'll try to, and there's certain tournament regulations too, but ideally what I'd like to do is as soon as we get off the bus, walk in the gym, shoot a little bit, just to get moving, then change, and then play. Because one of the different things about a tournament game is that there's no JV game, so we've got to get off the bus and play as opposed to a normal.
That's his job.
Trip.
You gotta have some songs ready to sing along, some sing-alongs, and
the girls love when I sing along to the songs. They sometimes forget that I'm not that much older than them, so they think it's pretty crazy that I know a lot of the same music.
Okay. It can be. I had one more question. Same question you asked earlier. What's your best coaching advice you ever received? Not good gave to somebody else, but you received yourself.
It is. I think invest in the kids that I'm coaching, not in X's and O's, not in wins and losses, but just try to invest in the kids that I'm coaching, whatever the sport, whatever level. And I think that was easily the best advice.
I agree with that. Too many coaches work so much on X and O's, they forget about what they're working with, and that's going to make you win or lose, I think, a lot. So I agree with that. I like that. You remember who gave that to you?
It was my college basketball coach. He was kind of an interesting guy, but he didn't recruit me. I transferred, so I kind of walked on, and then I ended up being a captain and all that stuff. But I don't know what I would have chosen that school just for basketball, but I love the school on every other. It was Anderson University in Indiana.
Okay, yeah.
So I was
very well known school.
I was indoctrinated into Indiana basketball very quickly, and it was a whole other level. It is, and he was a different guy, but his character was unquestioned, and he actually asked me probably 5 years after I graduated to come back and coach with him to be an assistant, and I didn't feel at that point that was a good move for me. But anyway, to answer your question, he explained that was important to him, that just invest in the kids, invest in whoever we're playing or whoever we're coaching, and other stuff will fall into place.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you coming tonight.
Yeah.
And we wish you luck at Sheridan. We'll be there for you.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay, that was Coach Day, Coach Scott, the Miami Trace Lady Panthers, who
We'll see you Wednesday.
playing Wednesday night at Thornville Sheridan in the first round of the high school Division III playoff basketball tournament. For Joe, Rick, and myself, we appreciate everyone participating in our roundtable tonight. Everyone had a great evening, and come back next Monday. We'll be right back here with the boys teams, talking to the coaches and some players next Monday at 7 o'clock. Till then, we'll see you tomorrow night at Miami Trace for the big matchup against Medford in the boy basketball.